Coach, what steps have you taken to adjust some of the changes or adjust some of the issues with the offensive line this week?
It's a mixed bag. There's not like one central issue where it's like we're just not doing this one thing well. There's not like one player where it's like, man, the other four guys are playing unbelievable, and this is one guy, we got to make a change. We've kind of been sharing the mistakes, and these things manifest itself in a lot of different ways. When you're trying to play good offensive football, one thing can be off, and then maybe it turns into an interception or it turns into a sack. There's times where, like the other night with sacks, there's times where we could have gotten rid of the ball faster. We busted a couple of routes, we busted a couple protections. All of a sudden, two or three guys make some mistakes against a good defense, and that's what shows up. And so now we do have some other pieces there that we feel like can be part of it. Obviously, I think this is where playing some of those guys early like we did in the season and getting some different lineups experience gives you some potential options if you feel like you want to make a personnel change. And we're going to evaluate that this week and see if that's the right thing. But I think the bigger thing for us is we just got to get back to playing more 11-man ball. There's a lot of good on the tape, but the results have not consistently been there because there's not been a lot of 11-man ball offensively in the first half against Arizona, and then for obviously big portions of the game against Notre Dame.
Utah created a lot of pressure in both of the games last year. How much of a concern is that front being able to protect Caleb?
Yeah, they, the first game not so much. Some of it is just the nature of like how they play. They're extremely aggressive. You gotta give them credit. They do it. It works well for them. I said last night on the show, you can tell they've been in that system for a long time, and they've recruited for that system for a long time, and they do a tremendous job of it. And so, against a group that's going to be overly aggressive, you got to make some of your big plays too. We were able to do that quite a bit in the first game. We did it at times during the second game last year, but this is going to be a new challenge. We got some new personnel. They got some new personnel. It's a fun group to match up with against. I have a lot of respect for them. I enjoy playing against really good defenses, really good coordinators, really good players. They got all three.
Can you talk after the Arizona game about the receivers, being off just a tick, I think you said, and it seemed like against Notre Dame there's a little bit of trouble kind of creating consistent separation against their defensive backs. What's kind of the message to those guys this week? What do you feel like needs to kind of be done there?
Yeah. Separation really wasn't much of a problem. We had good separation. The nature of all the man. I mean, you're not going to be running 5 yards wide open every single time. And Notre Dame played a lot of man, but I didn't feel like leaving the game like, oh man, we didn't create enough separation. The reality is you go back and look at that tape. I mean, like all three of those turnovers, for example, there's wide open people running around, and we gotta finish those plays. We had some opportunities to make a few plays that we didn't. A couple times we didn't give them the ball. A couple times we didn't have protection. I mean, it was just, again, we just kind of. A lot of the good gets overshadowed because if you don't do it with all 11 and it looks out of sync and disjointed, and you get that feeling, and I know how it gets on, I feel like it's for everybody inside and outside of these walls, is you feel like, oh man, you're so far away. And the reality is, no, we're not. You complete that first ball to Lake the other night, he may still be running right now, and everything feels different. You get the touchdown that got called back on a bad call. And now it's a tie ball game and everything feels different. Like, that's the nature of momentum on the road. So, but we have to make those plays, and we have to capitalize on the opportunities against good people. And that was a good football team that we played. We obviously got another good one we're playing here. And when we get our chances to make them across the board, we got to make them because they're there to make.
You mentioned kind of the culture that Kyle has been able to build at Utah over many years. I mean, you're only in your second year now, but what do you think the identity of this program is where so far in your process here?
You're talking about Utah's program?
No,
or
your program that you're building here.
Yeah, we're definitely building. I mean, again, look at November 2 years ago and look how it feels now. I mean, 2 years ago, everybody was dying for a win, any kind of win, and now everybody's not happy with it at best when we win by 30. So that means we're doing some pretty good things. That's how I want it to be. And that's how, when you're a high-level championship program with those type of standards, that's how it should feel. And so I think we've made great progress. I mean, we've made remarkable progress in a short amount of time. Now, am I satisfied with it? Is it where we want to be as we look long term at this thing? Of course not. I want it to be the best program in the country, and I believe we can be, and I believe we will. But I'm not naive enough to think that there is a climb. There's a part of that you have to struggle. You have to go through some of this. You have to get calloused a little bit. Like, that's just the nature of it. And when you take over one that was in the position this one was, a lot of those calluses and things aren't there. And every year and every expectation is a little new. When I worked at Oklahoma, it was, you still had to get up and do it, but that was kind of ingrained because it had been done there for so long and so consistently. When it hasn't, you got to go through some of that, and that's where we're putting ourselves in great positions, and we have made amazing progress, but we still have a lot of steps to take, and so hopefully we can take some of those here in the back half of this year.
After that first loss last year, Caleb was really emotional. Seemed to use that as kind of a springboard going forward. How have you seen him just react to having a rough game and kind of bouncing back?
Yeah, similar. He's always been really productive after, either the team doesn't win or if he doesn't play up to his standards and our standards, and he's always been a guy that bounces back strong. And so I think his resolve, the team's resolve is very strong, and the confidence of the team is very, very strong. The belief of the team is very, very strong, and so he's a competitor. I mean, he is. It hurts him, but he comes back hungry and ready to get better and owning any mistakes that he has in it. And so he's been a good leader. He's had great energy this week, and he may have a tough one here and there, but I wouldn't expect him to have too many, and I doubt he has two in a row.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
All right, thanks.